this video, we're going to learn how to use the random number generator on our TI-84. Let's take a look at the following example. Suppose an individual with a small farm is interested in selling eggs laid by her chickens. She wants to know how many nests she will have to visit on average if she wants to collect a dozen eggs. Given the following. We're told that there are no eggs in a nest that she checks 10% of the time. So she looks in a nest and there's a 10% chance that there won't be any eggs in it. 30% of the time she'll find one egg, and 60% of the time she's going to find two. In order to find the average number of nests that she'll need to visit, we'll run a simulation. We start by pressing the math key. Then we're going to use the right arrow to get to the probability menu. Once there, we navigate to option 5 for random integers. We press enter and this prompt appears. Or if you're using one of the newer TI series calculators, you'll actually have fields where you'll be told what values to put in. With the older calculators, you just need to know what values you're putting in and in what order without prompting. Anyway, in our case, let's recall that there are 0 eggs 10% of the time, 1 egg 30% of the time, and 2 eggs 60% of the time. So altogether this makes 100%, and it makes sense that we would want to select a range of digits that we could partition out as percentages of 100%. One way to do it is to assign digits 0 through 9. When we run our simulation, if we get 0, then that corresponds to 0 eggs. If we get a 1, 2, or 3, that will correspond to 1 egg. If we get a 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, or 9, that corresponds to 2 eggs. Note that we have 10 digits between 0 and 9, and that we've assigned 10% of our digits, in other words, 1 out of 10, for 0 eggs, and that corresponds with 10%. We have 3, which correspond to 1 egg, 30%, and the remaining 6 digits correspond to our 60%. So now that we have our prompt up for random integers, we want to establish our lower bound, which is 0, our upper bound, which is 9, and then we will select how many results we'd like to see at a time. You can choose to see only one result at a time, or you might wish to see 5, 10, or more. That part is up to you. So here's what it looks like on the calculator screen. Here I've established my lower and upper bounds, 0, and 9. And I've chosen to get 5 results at a time. Here we have 7, 3, 5, 4, 9. Recall that 7 corresponds to finding 2 eggs, as we can see here. 3 corresponds to 1 egg. 5 corresponds to 2 eggs. 4 also corresponds to 2. And 9 also corresponds to 2. So we have 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. 9 so far. We're not quite up to our dozen. So we'll run our simulation again by pressing enter. And we continue with our simulation. So now, beginning with our second row, we have a 3 that corresponds to 1 egg. We have a 1 which also corresponds to 1. And then we have a 4 which corresponds to 2. And so that gets us up to 13 eggs. So now we're just over our requirement of 12. Note that it took visits to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 nests. So 8 nests to reach 1 dozen eggs. Now the idea with the simulation is that you would run one, and then you would run several more, and take the average of your results from each one. For this example, we'll stop here, but in order to run additional simulations, you would simply repeat the process over as many times necessary. It's generally common to run 10 or 20 simulations. So as a recap, we can sample using our random number generator on our TI series calculator by going to Math, Probability, Option 5, which is our random integers. Then set your lower bound. Set your upper bound. And set the number of results that you wish to see. This concludes our example. I hope you found it helpful, and we'll see you next time.